This is it. This is what you've all been waiting for as we document things that you've never heard before, things that you have heard before, and you're going to have in full detail of the entire collapse of the Cleveland Cavaliers. You will know what went wrong, what happened, and who's responsible. Let's take it back to the Golden State Warriors winning the NBA championship in 5 games. Players had a meeting in the back, gave their speeches, and players didn't really talk to each other. Richard Jefferson talked to LeBron, and Channing Frye talked to him, and they were out. LeBron didn't really speak to JR, and he didn't speak to a person whom he was really close to and spoke to a lot, Sherbet Ice Cream, Amon Sherbet. Now, Shump, that he used to call my man Shump, they kind of had a falling out due to what happened in the NBA Finals. He didn't know what was going to happen with his future based off that. During the final meetings, where they have their final meetings, he angrily talked with Coach Ty Lue about the situation, and he felt the distrust in the finals. He's by himself, and they don't even swing the ball his way. He was upset about that. So in the office, he's like, look, anytime you want to come up here and just let off steam, come right up here. Like, he don't have an easy job. Ty Lue does it, dealing with LeBron. And this was the first time when things are not going right, do they see the other side of LeBron. See, when they're winning, everything's fine, but when you're losing, it's not all good. Now, after this process is over, now it comes to LeBron going into his final year. So Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, wants to know what LeBron's plans are. LeBron's team informs him that LeBron will be making a decision. He's not going to make it like before, as the message came back towards Dan Gilbert from his team that he understands that Cleveland don't want to be held hostage and don't want to have an issue like before. They're working on dealing with that situation so that won't happen, and they ensure it won't be a situation like that again. That happened the first time we left, but you'll be notified, when we're ready to, tackle this and hold things down. So, with that being said, things were put in motion. Dan Gilbert was pretty sure that these situations were being handled, in a manner that was respectful to the organization. Now, during the off season, LeBron was doing his other things that he normally do in the off season. Staying on social media a lot, clowning, but also poaching talent. He tried to get Simmons from the San Antonio Spurs, who was a free agent, once he decided he was no longer going to stay with the Spurs. And they were looking to move him. LeBron called him and tried to lure him to come play for Cleveland. Then James Jones took the job that they discussed about when they had the NBPA meeting over in Phoenix, where LeBron and his Clutch Sports representative, Eric Bledsoe, who he's friends with, also plays over there. So they were working on doing a deal where they were going to have their player, their homeboy, work a deal out where they were going to get Bledsoe and Paul George. Paul George was with the Pacers at the time, had not even considered going to OKC or anything. He was involved, it was a trade. So the Indiana Pacers agreed to this trade, but it was a holdup in this deal to where they wouldn't agree with parting with Kevin Love in this deal, and Kyrie was supposed to go to Phoenix, and he would have. And Indiana was supposed to get another deal, but they wanted Kevin Love, and it was just such a mess that they couldn't actually pull the trigger. And LeBron was like, "No, I don't want to lose Kyrie and Kevin Love. Like one can go, we could lose Kai, but Kevin Love, one of them had to stay." This was the deal that also Kyrie found out about, that he was on the blocks to being traded, which he was oblivious to. That led to the demise of the Cleveland Cavaliers and him wanting to leave. But the GM, David Griffin, was up for renegotiation. His contract's running out, and he wants a new contract. He didn't want to leave Cleveland. He felt he deserved $6.5 million. He broke it down to his net worth, making him one of the third or fourth highest paid GMs in the NBA, which is a fair deal. But the owner don't believe in fairness because he believed a nutless monkey could have done his job, and they probably could have hired a nutless monkey, as figuring that LeBron brought Kevin Love over, he brought all these players over. All you did was the paperwork. And he's looking like, hey, I brought in Kyle Korver when he got started complaining. Last year, Brian complained. I made a deal to bring in Kyle Korver. They were like, well, you didn't bring that in, but other than that, a nutless monkey could have done your job. Once LeBron's here, he's gonna basically be GM. So I'm just gonna pay you $1 million, 2 million, 1.5. He's like, wow, no negotiation. Well, if you want to stay, you can get 1.7, 1.5. I'll bump it up to a cool 2 million. So 2 million was the offer that was on the table for David for his services. He's getting 2 million. They felt that was being grateful. He should be grateful for that. So he walked away and wouldn't accept it. His deal ended. He didn't sign it. So he parted. Would not pay him what he felt he was deserving of. So with that in tow, Griffin's gone. Chauncey Billups was supposed to be the new GM, who was LeBron James' friend. So this would work. Dan Gilbert's from Detroit. Chauncey Billups, This is gonna be perfect. So Chauncey listens to the offer to being president of basketball operations for the Cleveland Cavaliers, as well as his general manager, whatever. He listens to the offer. Everything was good. And then when it comes to money, they offered him $1 million. He said, $1 million. I might as well stay in the broadcast booth. You're not serious. If you're talking about $1 million for me, oh, you're not serious. $1 million. He would have been the lowest paid GM in the NBA for taking that deal. Can you believe that? He would have been the lowest paid. Cleveland is one of the highest earning teams in the NBA as far as marketing because of Golden State and Cleveland. So you're gonna be the president and GM of that team, and you're only gonna get $1 million. That's insulting. So Chauncey didn't take the deal. So they found Kobe, their new GM, somebody who never made this kind of money before, and just end up taking the deal. And the first thing that was on the table was moving Kyrie Irving. They waited till Kyrie Irving was on a trip to China and they released the information that he wanted to be traded. Like clockwork. And the very next day, they signed Derrick Rose. It was strategic. They knew Kyrie wanted out and they were going to move him. They promised to move him. And they were going to sign Derrick Rose, but they did it in a way that they did it because LeBron went and recruited Derrick Rose to come to Cleveland. And when they tried to do a deal that was going to bring Jimmy Butler over to the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron didn't want it because he still was trying to get Eric Bledsoe. He didn't want Jimmy Butler. Now they wish they had a Jimmy Butler or anything that resembles him. So now LeBron don't have a David Griffin that he wish was in his corner. Because see, Dave moved whenever LeBron throws a fit. He was more in line. He was a player's GM. Kobe is an owner's GM. That's the difference. Kobe is more in line with the owner. What the owner wants to have done is with him. It's under his umbrella. LeBron and Kobe don't have that kind of relationship. He'll listen to what LeBron wants, but they're basically going to do what they want to do due to the fact that they're looking out what's best for the Cavs. And they're not going to, it's like, fool me once, shame on me, but you ain't finna get us twice. Now, you talk about this long term commitment. Let's sit down and talk about this deal. Then, then we can talk about making moves on the team. But we not finna do this again, and you gonna burn us and run away and go to LA on us. Nah, I don't work that way. So they not playing ball and being boo boo the fool. LeBron just got to go through the motions and hope ownership gives him help. So Kyrie gets moved to Boston. and they get Isaiah Thomas and they get Jay Crowder. And this was supposed to make LeBron happy because they couldn't get the Eric Bledsoe deal and they couldn't get Paul George. So they said, look, we got you two players. We got you Jay Crowder and we got you Isaiah Thomas. And all they took was Kyrie Irving. We've broken down the team that played us in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're done. So the only team we might end up playing is Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals. We could beat them. The team that gave us problems last year defensively, we just split up their whole unit. So we just did two birds with one stone. So they thought it was an unbelievable deal with Kobe. Even LeBron thought it was a great deal. He wasn't too happy with Isaiah Thomas in that situation, but the fact that it broke up Boston. In Boston, they got a whole new team and everything else, but defensively, he felt their unit is broken down now. Boy, would they wrong. Boy, would they wrong. So before the season starts, guys are going to have to start playing for their minutes. Richard Jefferson's there. Everybody's all these new faces, and now they got a bench. They got all these people. So other guys who've been there, veterans, are worried about their time. You got somebody who's not happy in Amon Sherper, who spent the entire summer really working on his game. He cut his hair. He was serious. He's ready to ball. Like he was in the best shape, ready to go. Derrick Rose is in shape. He's ready to go. These guys were ready to play. He's like, look, I can't be one of the smoke brothers with you, JR. I'm serious this year. You know, last year my shot was off because I was hurt and threw my shot off and I wasn't the same. This year I want to help out. I want to contribute and be aggressive. And he wanted to be, somebody that the guy that they trusted before on the starting lineup. Because now he's playing for his starting lineup, but he don't even know the decision was already made. He was out. Like you're done. So as they're practicing, they see that Richard Jefferson is just done. Basically, he's not in shape. He's not ready for the season, and he's just done. He's just talking and all everything else. But he's LeBron's friend, and nobody could bother Richard Jefferson because that's LeBron's boy. But he's not really ready for an NBA season. He's only going to play limited minutes, but that's his buddy. Then out of nowhere comes Derek. I mean D Wade coming over to the Cleveland Cavaliers. In a surprise move, he signs a 1-year deal, turns down 18 million with the Bulls to play for like 2 million for Cleveland for one season. Now here it is, Wade and Bron together again, and it's gonna be like old times, and everybody's like, "Oh, they gonna do it this year? They ready for Golden State?" Well, we'll leave it right here, as this is the end of part 1 of the series. We'll continue later.